Dan Tom here with Home of Fight at Xtreme Couture with EDMEN SHAHBAZYAN, UFC middleweight on a winning streak and looking good. We wanted to catch up with him. EDMEN, fresh off of training today, buddy. We know you've been working hard, but how you feeling, man?
Feeling great, man. We're 8 days out. Feeling amazing. I can't wait.
Back to be saying 5, then I'm going to fight this motherfucker. Let's go.
Sean Strickland in the house. And speaking to Sean, I was interviewing Eric yesterday, and I was complimenting your maturity, which I want to get into, because not just from the outside and the results, but I'm lucky enough I've been able to train at this gym, and even I believe your second to last camp, I was actually sharing some cage time doing mitts when you were, and just watching your focus has been so impressive, and you're getting the results to go along with it. I went to try to give some credit to Eric or Xtreme Couture, and he pushed it back right onto you. He pushed the credit right back to fighters like Sean Strickland, who we just saw, crediting that with just a lot of your development. What can you speak to that, though, EDMEN?
Yeah, so, well, I give a lot of credit to Eric, too. It's been 3 fights now. We're 3-0 together, and he's just been an incredible coach. I think my maturity, growing in the octagon with losses and wins, I think I've developed from that. And then, of course, like the Xtreme Couture group, Sean being a great leader, the training partners, it's been an amazing atmosphere, and the coaching. Eric has always been here, helps whenever I need it. We've been improving our game tremendously together, or whether it's tactical, technical, or just giving some type of advice. He's been amazing.
That's fantastic. And again, from my outside perspective, of course, just an outside perspective here, but I even watched you in the Contender Series from inside the cage to, even quartering, family members with Leon and whatnot. Yeah. And, early on, we saw that fire. That is a prerequisite for fighters that serves you guys well. And there's no question you have that. But what's impressed me most is back to that word I said, maturity. Yeah. It feels like you're just maturing in so much more ways with your skills, knowing your capabilities. But I'm just speaking from the outside. You tell me yourself, am I correct saying that we're seeing a more mature EDMEN?
For sure. Yeah, you're definitely seeing it. Like I said, from all my experience in the octagon, I've been in the UFC. I got signed from Contender at 20, and I'm 28 now. So all those experiences inside the big arenas, the big organization UFC, you can't ask for more. And I've developed a lot from that, and I've matured a lot from that. So yeah, you're definitely right on that.
I mean, you're still a young face. You're still an up-and-coming, prospect. All those things are fair, but I also think that people forget how long you've been in the game. Obviously, for those in the know, if they do a YouTube or Google search, they'll see videos of you as a little kid, training at a young age with family members. You're kind of indoctrinated into this game. Am I correct, EDMEN?
Yeah, so I started training at 10 years old. My brother and I was 10, my brother was 12. We started with karate, and then just slowly started adding all the things for MMA, boxing, grappling, wrestling, and then just boom, we just got into it.
And now we hit the fast forward button, right? And we're on this winning streak. We got, a big name, Brendan Allen, coming up next. And you've been training really hard for that. We're 8 days out. So I got to ask you, before your thoughts on the matchup, you were originally slated to actually fight earlier this year in April versus Jong Young Park. He had to withdraw, it looks like, due to injury. Can you tell us about that and what that process was? Were you disappointed? And how long did it take you to get rebooked?
Yeah, so he withdrew from the fight about 3 weeks before we were supposed to fight, and it was upsetting, because I was hitting the peak of my camp. So I kind of waited. I was upset, but I still stayed in camp. I'm gonna get another type of matchup. And then a week or two goes by, and my manager calls me with this matchup. I'm like, yes, let's do it. So although it was 11 weeks away, I had to just taper down a little bit in my camp and then pick right back up. So I stayed in amazing shape. And it's like I did a double camp, but not like a double camp where I'm a burnout, a double camp where I'm fresh and just getting sharper and sharper.
And now, speaking of Brendan Allen, from what I've seen, it sounds like he's been very respectful. I mean, people are giving him credit, as they should, for taking this fight, right? Because of his ranking, you could argue maybe he could have tried to wait for, another name with a high number or something like that. But he gives you the shot, and from what it sounds like, he's being very respectful of you and your skills. But what are your thoughts on Brendan Allen?
Oh yeah, no, I really appreciate him giving the opportunity. It's an amazing opportunity, and I know he's a great fighter. He's a tough, durable, and exciting fighter, so I expect to go in there and to have a great war. And we've had our back and forth years ago, but I think he's matured. I've matured, and it's all about going in there and giving a great scrap. And I'll plan on going there and dominating and performing amazing and getting an amazing win and hitting that top 5. Yeah.
Now I know Eric Nicksick is a real big game plan guy, and I don't want to give away you guys any game plans or anything like that. But again, as far as your maturation, you just mentioned the double camp. I got to imagine, Eric did hint at some new skills that you guys are eager to show out. Can you talk about some of those skills and maybe some of the things maybe we could expect from EDMEN SHAHBAZYAN this time around?
I think you're just going to see a lot more polished version of myself. Just what you've seen from the past few fights, just sharper and sharper, and working on any flaws, anything good I've been doing, just sharpening it up a little more. But it's going to be good. I think my coaches, Eric, Jason, and my strength and conditioning coach Gavin, they did a great job in scheduling my camp and kind of like dialing me in for these 2 camps in order for me to peak at the perfect time and really feel amazing. Like I said, I'm 8 days out. I feel amazing, and I cannot wait to perform next Saturday.
And now you've proven that you can perform for those 15 minutes. You can perform for those 15 minutes and win. You've got the preparation and camp down. So I got to imagine you're ready for 15 minutes, but I got to ask you, is it going 15 minutes, EDMEN?
We'll see. I'm ready for a war, but you know me, I'm always a finisher, but we'll see what happens. I'm ready.
Awesome, EDMEN. Just a couple more before we get you out of here. Appreciate your time, EDMEN SHAHBAZYAN here, UFC middleweight contender. Of course, we referenced how long you've been in the game and indoctrinated into it. You also have connections to a lot of names, one of which old friend, former manager, Ronda Rousey. We just saw MVP put on a big event for MMA on Netflix. First of all, just tell me, what was it like to see Ronda back? And after that, I want to ask you about the event itself.
Yeah, no, I thought it was incredible to see her back and do an amazing performance. I expected her to dominate. I was just very proud of her and her family, and I just wish her nothing but the best.
That's fantastic. And were you able to, I'm sure she's been very busy before and since, but were you able to speak to her at all, wish her luck, give her a congratulation text, anything like that?
I didn't reach out to her, but I reached out to one of her coaches who I'm very close with, and I congratulated them, and I know the message was spread along.
Fantastic. And do you think she'll get in there with a Holly Holm rematch, or do you have any opinions on that?
I don't think so. I think since she said she's done, she's very good on her words, so I think she's actually done.
Well, what about MVP on Netflix? Is that done? It doesn't sound like it is. It sounds like they had a fairly successful viewership. Obviously, you're with the world's leader, so you're not worried about it. But as a fan, you grew up in MMA. You know this sport. Is this good for MMA to have more organizations like this out there?
I think so, yeah. I thought the MVP show was a great show, organized perfectly. The broadcasting was good. I think it was a success, in my opinion, and I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to keep doing more and more shows, and I think it's good for MMA, just getting more eyes, getting more fighters. It's really good.
Yeah, I think that seems to be a lot of the consensus from what I'm talking to, and as we heard, not only MVP, but also Scott Coker is getting back into the game, got a $16 million backing, going to start a league as well, but more MMA, the better, as healthy is for the sport, is the consensus, is what I'm getting from you?
100%. More eyes, more fighters, more talent. That's what we need.
Yeah, it's hard to deny that. And let me ask you about another big event that's in the future, not the past. Of course, that's UFC Freedom 250, the White House card. Now, a lot of attention, as it deserves, on the top 2 fights, but there's one fight that's not getting a ton of attention, and I feel like you're the perfect person to ask for that, and that's a middleweight fight between Bo Nickal and Kyle Daukaus. And again, now that might not be the most biggest names on that card that they stacked, but it's a middleweight fight, and I dare say, EDMEN, should you get a nice win, right, this next fight, I feel like that's the next level, especially a name like Bo Nickal, or if Kyle Daukaus can beat him, then his name elevates, and I feel like that's where your name is. Am I looking too far ahead? Am I incorrect by saying that?
No, you're not incorrect by saying that. But all focus, of course, is Brendan Allen, because he's got the high ranking. But I think it's still a great fight with Bo Nickal and Kyle. But it's not obviously the most hyped up fight, and I don't think it's a main event fight. It's a cool fight because I think they're both Americans, right? And they need Americans to fight on the White House soil. So I think that's kind of why the fight was made. And also Bo Nickal, he represents United States with his wrestling in college, and I think he wrestled nationally too. So yeah, I think that's why that fight was made. It's a great fight, but I don't think it's like a main event fight. It's a good opener or a second fight.
All right, let me put you on the spot, EDMEN. Who do you got for that fight? Can you give us a fun prediction?
I think Bo Nickal by decision. Yeah.
All right, yeah, maybe the wrestling, two southpaws, but maybe the wrestling, even though Daukaus is a good grappler, that might be the deciding factor.
Yeah, because I think Bo has good grappling too, so I think he'll be able to capitalize.
Excellent. And last question I got to ask. Yeah, you mentioned America, and obviously there's going to be American pride on that day, but I want to speak to you about some Armenian pride, my brother. What does it feel? I just saw you got a very nice recommendation, recognized in a popular Armenian publication I saw on your Instagram. Can you speak about that and what it means to kind of, carry that Armenian pride with you in these fights and represent?
For sure, yeah. I always represent my Armenian roots, Yeah, like whenever I get introduced, it's always the American flag because I don't think they let me represent Armenia because I'm born in the United States. So they just put the flag of where you're born. But because people always ask me, why don't you put the Armenian flag? I'm like, I'm born in the U.S. That's what they have me listed as, But I have my roots are Armenian. My parents are Armenian. I'm an Armenian American, and Armenians are the greatest people, and I'll always represent them, and support them no matter what. And I'm very blessed to be Armenian, and to be recognized in something like that on that post was incredible, and I really appreciate you guys.
Well, that's beautiful, man. Growing up here in America, there's a lot. We've got a heavy Armenian presence, as you well know, especially more on the West Coast here.
Yeah.
So that's really cool to see some representation, and I appreciate you clarifying that on the flag. I know people have asked that before as far as flag representation, but just to kind of follow up and push a little more on that. Let's say you're on the track to get main events here. If you keep this up, Edmund, do you do one of those Tito Ortiz things where we're walking out with like a double side? We have the American flag, we have the Armenian flag on the other side, and would the UFC allow that hypothetically if you wanted to do that?
Well, the UFC banned flags for a while because of me. Because whenever I walked out, when Armenia was at war, I walked out with this flag that had like a little symbol on it, and like it kind of caused tensions. So they banned flags because of me, and then they brought it back. But yeah, I don't know. Walking out with the flag, they're probably gonna like double, triple, quadruple check me every time I do that. But in the future, if I can potentially have that American flag for my introduction changed to an Armenian flag, if they allow it, I'd be down to change it just so I can show the Armenian people that I rep them always, and they're always in my heart. Yeah.
Well, you heard it first, folks. If you want to blame anybody for the flag stuff, blame. I'm just kidding. No, I appreciate the clarification from that, and I think everybody, it will be rooting for you. I think people, really appreciate, no matter what country you're from. Yeah. I think everybody understands, that kind of heritage and pride, and it's beautiful to see you represent it so well. It's beautiful to see you on this winning streak. Before I let you go, would you like to thank any sponsors? Anybody? The mic and floor is yours, sir.
No, I just want to thank my team, Xtreme Couture, my team at the UFC PI, the whole staff there. I appreciate all my training partners. And we're ready to take on the rankings next Saturday night. Don't miss it.
That's right, folks. You heard it here. EDMEN SHAHBAZYAN taking on Brendan Allen, UFC Fight Night 278. Do not miss it.